As I've gotten older, I have not stopped wanting to improve as a runner. I still want to feel strong. I still want to enjoy challenging runs. I still want to see what I can do. But I've changed the way I go after these things, because eventually, most of us learn this the hard way. The training approach that got you fit at one stage of life may not be the best approach for keeping you healthy, consistent, and improving at the next stage. That does not mean lowering your standards. It means changing your strategy. Today I want to share 3 things I have changed about running as I've gotten older. These are not rules that every runner has to follow exactly, but they are rules that have helped me keep running more sustainably and enjoy it more. And stay with me, because the third one may be the hardest adjustment for runners who are used to pushing through everything. Hi, I'm Ralph, and welcome to the Ageless Runner. I'm here to help you run smarter, go longer, and stay ageless. Thank you for being here. The first thing I have changed is this. I protect my easy days much more than I used to. There was a time when I thought a run only really counted if it felt productive. If I was out there, I felt like I should be moving along. And if my pace looked slow or the run felt too easy, part of me wondered whether I was doing enough. But that mindset can quietly turn nearly every run into some kind of effort. Not easy enough to recover well, not hard enough to be a true quality workout, just somewhere in the middle. And that middle ground can be a problem, especially as we get older, because it creates fatigue without always giving us the benefit we think we are getting. Now when I do an easy run, I try to let it be easy. That usually means conversational effort, and since I run a lot by heart rate, that generally means heart rate zone 2 or lower for me. It means I do not chase pace just because my watch says I'm moving slower than I would like. And it means I will use run, walk, run when it helps me keep the effort where it belongs. That is not backing off. That is controlling the workout. Easy running has a job. It builds aerobic fitness. It keeps your leg moving, and it supports recovery. And it helps you show up with something left for the runs that are supposed to be harder. The older I get, the more I realize that discipline is not always about pushing harder. Sometimes discipline is holding back when your ego wants to press on. Here's the first ageless adjustment. On your next easy run, do not look at your pace for the first 10 minutes. Start relaxed, keep it conversational, and let effort, not ego, decide what that run should be. Now, change number 2 was a big one for me, and that is I no longer believe I need to force a long run every single week. Long runs are very valuable. They build confidence, they build endurance, and they help prepare you for longer races or longer adventures. But they also carry a big cost. A true long run creates fatigue, and as I have gotten older, I have learned that the calendar does not always know how my body feels. There was a time when I would look back at the schedule and think, it's the weekend. This is long run day, so I need to do it. Even if my legs felt heavy, even if I had not recovered well, even if something just felt a little off. Now I look at the big picture. At this stage of my running, I generally prefer a more substantial long run every 10 to 14 days rather than forcing one every week. That does not mean I do nothing on those weekends. I may still do a solid aerobic run. I may do a shorter endurance run. I may work on hills, form, or simply enjoy another easy run. But I do not believe one big run every weekend is automatically the best path to fitness. Because fitness is not built around one heroic workout. It's built by training you can repeat, week after week, month after month, and year after year. A long run that leaves you wiped out for several days can take more from your training than it gives. And that is something I think older runners need to be honest about. You do not get extra credit for finishing a workout that your body was not ready to absorb. The goal is not to win one run. The goal is to stay in the game. Now, the second ageless adjustment, before your next planned long run, ask yourself one simple question. Am I recovered enough to benefit from this today? If the answer is no, shorten it, move it, or turn it into an easier aerobic day. That is not quitting on the plan. That is adjusting the plan so it continues to work for you. Now, the third thing I've changed is probably the biggest one from a mental aspect, and that is I treat recovery as training, not time off from training. Not something that happens only when I'm injured or exhausted, but a real part of the process. When I was younger, recovery often felt automatic. You ran hard, you slept, you woke up, and you did it again. But recovery does not always happen as quickly or as quietly as it once did. And if you ignore that reality, small problems can turn into bigger ones. Heavy legs become a strained calf. A little soreness becomes an ongoing ache. A few poor nights' sleep become a string of runs where your form starts falling apart. Now I pay much more attention to the signals. How are my legs feeling? Is my easy pace requiring more effort than normal? Is my heart rate unusually high on an easy run? Am I sleeping well? Is a small ache getting worse instead of better? Those are not signs of weakness. They are information. And good training means paying attention to information. Recovery can mean an easy day. It can mean a walk instead of an extra run. It can mean strength work that supports your running instead of another hard running session. It can mean mobility, good food, better sleep, or simply giving your body an extra day before the next quality workout. Recovery is not sitting around becoming less fit. Recovery is what allows you to train again and train well. The more I've learned about running as I've gotten older, the more I believe this. You do not become durable by constantly proving how tired you can get. You become durable by applying stress, recovering from it, and repeating that cycle intelligently. Now, last Ageless adjustment, this week, make one recovery choice on purpose. Maybe it is replacing one run with a walk. Maybe it is moving a hard session back a day. Maybe it's getting to bed earlier. Choose one thing that helps your next run, not just today's run. So those are 3 things I have changed about running as I've gotten older. I protect easy days, I do not force a long run every week, and I treat recovery as training. None of these changes mean I become less ambitious. I still want to improve. I still want to challenge myself, but I become more selective about where I spend my effort. That is what running smarter looks like. Not pretending you are 30, not giving up because you are older, but training for the runner you are now. Because that is how you keep running strong. That is how you keep improving. And that is how you give yourself the best chance to enjoy this sport for many more years. Let me know in the comments, which of these 3 changes would make the biggest difference in your running life right now? And if you're an older runner who wants to run smarter, go longer, stay ageless, subscribe to Ageless Runner. I'll see you in the next one.